Alright, so we have reached Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Master. So, after the third film didn't matter really well, of course the sequel was greenlit and it came out. About a year later, in 1988, I believe. I'm gonna tell me here. (1988). 1 year later. 1 year later. Yep. And thus we got this. Now, I, for one, have always been kind of confused when it came to sequels. Like, when I see a movie and I really, really like it, yes, I want a sequel right away. But when they announce it's going to come out a year after the original, you have to think, do they have enough time to get it right? Or do they just write one? Like, but this, and in the case of the fifth one too, I think, Rennie Harlan, who directed this one, was living on the streets. And he was constantly asking to direct this film. Finally, he got the job. I don't think they even had a finished product. If I remember correctly, they didn't have a finished product when they were doing this. So half of it was being written while they were shooting it. In fact, there was a scene with the character of Rick. His death was supposed to be a lot better. He was supposed to be some kind of elaborate elevator death, but because of budget restraints, it ended up just being Invisible Freddy kicking his ass. Yeah. Now, while I do enjoy this one more than Freddy's Dead, at least, it's not one of the best. In fact, I see 4 and 5 on par with each other. Because to me, they're both kind of in the same boat, as they're both connected, just like the third one. This one's loosely connected. We get the characters returning from the previous installment, except for Patricia Arquette, who played Kristen in part 3, forgot to mention that, did not return, so she was replaced with Tuesday Night. And I'm sorry, but if they couldn't get Patricia Arquette to return, then they should have just forgot about these characters. But I see why they had to keep them in, because it connects to the rest of... They're the last of the Elm Street children. Essentially, the last of the children, all of the people who killed Freddy. So, Freddy gets revenge right away. I realize I haven't done a synopsis, but it's basically Freddy gets revenge on the 3 Dream Warriors kids, and then goes on to the next, generation of Elm Street kids. And you got Kristen, played by a different actress, like I said. She brings Joey and Kincaid into her dream, and they say that Freddy's dead, but it turns out that Kincaid's dog was also brought in and bites Kristen, which leaves a mark. That right there tells Kristen that Freddy's coming back. The other two don't believe her, but Freddy returns in Kincaid's dream, where his dog pisses fire and brings Freddy back to life. Freddy kills Kincaid, and then, once again, Joey's weakness for the titties gets him killed yet again. But I like his kill, because while Kincaid is basically, he's just getting killed by Freddy, like stabbed and stuff, Joey drowns in his waterbed. I've always kind of liked that kill. It's not my favorite in this. I got a favorite. We'll get to that one. But that one is kind of, And after this, Kristen is, of course, totally jittered out. And eventually she dies as well. We get another Robert Englund cameo of sorts where she's in a dream, but she doesn't realize it. There's this nurse, and this Robert Englund dressed like a nurse. And unlike the cameo in the second film, this one actually, connects to Freddy because he's actually Freddy, whereas it's unknown whether or not it turns out to be Freddy, but he doesn't act like Freddy. It's like a bus driver. Here, he acts like Freddy. Sorry, my ear's still, it's the cold, I know it is. And she ends up dying too. Pretty gross scene where she's thrown into a furnace in the dream, and when Alice and Rick get to her house, her room's on fire. And I do get props for bringing back the actress who played her mom too, and she says in line from the last one, "On the way." So yeah, but the mom's still a bitch because she doses her daughter with sleeping pills to make her fall asleep. But yeah, and then now, you're wondering, what's the connection? Well, the connection is that before her death, Kristen brought Alice into her dream accidentally. And this is the connection. Freddy can now go from Kristen and the other Elm Street kids, the original Elm Street kids, to the new generation through Alice. And she does. Every time Alice doses off, Freddy takes a victim. Like I forget her name, but she has asthma. And they show that earlier on in the film. And that's what leads to her death. He's like, "What a suck face." And so he goes up. Basically, this little rubber doll thing sucked out. Anyway, and to the rest of the people, it looks like she's having an asthma attack that isn't cured and she dies. There's, like I said, I mentioned Rick's death, but there is this dream sequence that I do like where Alice is established in this one, at least, to have daydreams. That doesn't really carry on to the next one, but she has a daydream at the funeral that Rick pops out of his casket. "Hello, baby," and then he's done. I don't know. It is a weird one, but I always kind of like that. Then we get my favorite sequence and death in this film, in the franchise, overall. Now, it's Debbie's death. Earlier on in the film, much like the asthma thing, we get a tease of what her kind of weakness is. Like Joey with titties, her weakness is bugs. And I can go with that, I hate bugs, okay? But she finds a cockroach in her fries or whatever. And that leads into later where she's working out. She's a fitness chick, She's working out. Freddy shows up and bends her arms backwards. Her arms flop until they flop like forward, and these insect feeler-like arms pop out. And she's freaking out, and I'll do this separately. She realizes it's sticky on the ground, and she falls forward. She tries to her face is ripped off, and it reveals that she's turned into a cockroach. It ends when Freddy, "Won't you check in, but they don't check out," and he squeezes it, killing her. During this whole transformation scene, Alice and Dan, her somewhat boyfriend or crush, whatever, the last two victims, are trying to get to Debbie, but are constantly being wrapped around in an endless loop. Eventually, they realize that they've fallen asleep somehow, and they're stuck in the loop. But it's too late, because Debbie's dead. How do they know? Well, when one of her friends die, it goes to her. She gets their quote-unquote dream power, even though the only one we really know is the karate from Rick. And Kristen dragging other people in power. And They never fully out say it, but I think her dream power is the daydream. Even though they don't continue really in the fifth one, but well, sort of. I have a theory about that, but we'll get to that when I get to the fifth one, which hopefully I can do today before I have to go anywhere. But we'll see. I got the fifth one playing right now. I've already seen it enough, but I need, because I dozed off and I rewatched the end as it gets, so I know, so I have a frame reference for the ending, but because they both fell asleep in the car, they get into an accident and Dan is taken to the hospital where she yells at them not to sedate him. So, there's this whole thing with the mirror where she has it covered up with pictures because she doesn't want to see her face. Well, by now, she's realized her strengths. She takes every time one of her friends dies, she takes their pictures off the mirror. And now she finishes taking pictures off the mirror, and she gets ready to face down Freddy. And she puts on stuff that she puts the headband thing that Rick gave her, the wrist thing that Debbie gave her, other stuff that people gave to her. So she's ready to kick Freddy's ass in the dream world. Earlier in the film, she talks about this little bedtime nursery thing, or the Master of Dreams. She can't remember how to finish it, but in the climax, of course, she figures out how to finish it. Dan is sedated and put into the dream world, but Alice comes to the rescue, and eventually the sedative wears off, and he wakes up, but he wants to go back in and help Alice, but they won't sedate him again. Of course not. The hospital won't sedate him. It was Alice versus Freddy 1-on-1, and she uses the mirror to show Freddy the true face of fear, and that, and recites the Master of Dreams, as I lay me down to sleep, the Master of Dreams, my soul to keep. And she finishes it, and all the souls that he's got, grabs him, pulls him in, and he dies. Great ending. Do I have any negatives besides the Rick kill? Well, yeah, the quality of this film is down from the previous film. Even the cinematography is a little meh compared to what it was in Dream Warriors. The soundtrack is still alright. There's some good music in here. And Rennie Harlan is a great director. But the fact that the script wasn't finished when they started shooting, and there were certain things they couldn't do due to budget, kind of lets it down. And while I do enjoy watching this one, it's not one of my favorites. And I'm going to have to give it I'll give it a 7. Same I gave 2. I enjoyed 2 more, but it's not bad. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. For me, I think it's one of the better ones in the franchise compared to a few others, but yeah, not bad. So what are your thoughts on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and of course, welcome to primetime, bitch.